How does a naval factory worker from Ecuador become one of the biggest UFC prospects on the planet? Is it through relentless training, wanting to create a new life, to escape the old life you were once living, to give back to the woman that gave you everything in this world, and to build her a house? Or is it all of the above? For every winner in MMA, there's a loser. However, this story isn't about a loser. This is about a fighter that is so relentless he doesn't lose.
We work hard to get this accomplished, and I think that we've had even our difficulties. I do it for myself, I do it for my mom.
A fighter with a perfect MMA record. A fighter that had to claw his way out of Ecuador.
Just off the max fight, he's showing his potential that he can be great, you know?
And at only the age of 25, he has almost conquered the world of mixed martial arts. This is the story of Michael Morales. And it all began in Pasaje, Ecuador, in the province of El Oro. Michael Morales was born as the son of two judokas on the 24th of June 1999, with his parents both teaching the sport of judo.
Mi mamá es cinta negra en judo, mi papá también. Y pues cuando pues me tuvieron a mí, su primer hijo, pues yo comencé en el judo a los 5 años.
At a young age, Morales would go to his mother's judo competitions, watching, observing, and learning. This is where he developed his interest in the sport. Everything started with my family, mainly my mum, said Morales. I was around 5 years old when I started with judo. My mum was a judo teacher and my dad as well, but I started liking combat sports and getting into it when my mum would take me to her competitions. But Morales didn't really like judo, stating I started training judo and that's how it all started when I was 5. After some time in judo, it wasn't really my thing, so they put me in wrestling when I was 10. Therefore, this is where Michael would transition into training Olympic wrestling. But what took Morales from competing in wrestling as a childhood sport to competing professionally in mixed martial arts?
Mi papá me llevó a un gimnasio donde él tenía un amigo. Por ahí me enseñaron un poquito Muay Thai. Comencé a competir en Muay Thai y me fue muy bien. Con 13 años.
There was one thing that took him to that next level. To give everything back to his mother and to support her. His mother, Katy Hurtado, was his first coach and became a driving force for Michael to keep improving in the sport. And because of his mother, he developed a relentless work ethic in wrestling. This relentless work ethic is how Morales was able to shine through all the competition. However, transitioning to Olympic wrestling seemed to be the right move for Michael, as he would go on to achieve a green belt in the sport and become a 3-time champion. First in 2016 at the National Olympic Wrestling Championship, second in 2017 at the Youth National Games, and finally in 2018 once again at the Youth National Games. But at the age of 14, Morales made a change once again. This time, his father would take him to Victor Vallejo's academy in Machala. This is where he would transition into mixed martial arts.
Entonces peleé a los 14 años por primera vez, vale todo, y pues ahí comenzó todo.
I began competing at 13 in youth wrestling tournaments, and after some time, I was able to compete on a national and then international level. At 15 years of age, my dad took me to an MMA gym in a town nearby. Then when I was 14 and 15, I fought amateur, and at 16, I debuted professionally. And that's how it all started, Morales said. Through his career, he never forgot who his biggest influences were. His coaches, his dad's brothers, his mum's brothers, his grandparents, and his parents, because they were all athletes, but no one had a bigger impact than his mother, as she competed in judo until the age of 42. However, it wasn't an easy climb to the top for Michael. Since he set his eyes on his sporting goals, it would come with a nod of disapproval from his parents. As he stated, "My mother wanted me to be a police officer or a soldier, but this wasn't his passion. And he didn't like wearing a uniform either." At first, she didn't like it, Morales explained. "When I was 15, she would watch me spar and she thought it was too violent. But after my first fight, she really began to support me even more than what she did. She never rejected this. She was simply worried and would tell me to be careful and all that. And now she likes it. She's my #1 fan and she's always looking out for me." So, as Morales made the decision to continue to focus on MMA, he would continue to train while he worked in a training partner's naval boat factory. Therefore, because he would dedicate many hours of time in his day to work, he said that he didn't like it because he was tired and couldn't train at 100%. He claimed that while working this job, he earned between $200 or $300 per week, and it was useful to help him buy clothes, work equipment, food, and more. But there was one thing holding Morales back, and that was comfort. And in order for him to achieve his goal of becoming a world champion in mixed martial arts, Michael had no choice but to leave his work, subsequently leaving his hometown, his country, and his family behind, so that he could focus 100% of his efforts on his career being a fighter.
Y pues ellos me convencieron para hablar con mi familia de que irnos a México, entrenar un tiempo, pero pues me daba miedo decirle a mi mamá.
"I hate to say see you soon, but I know who I'm leaving for and who I'm fighting for. I love you, Mum," Morales wrote before leaving for Mexico to fulfill his dreams. So, Morales took everything he had and a dream and moved to Mexico. Therefore, he would leave his hometown of Pasaje in the province of El Oro with two goals in mind: getting a contract with the UFC and earning enough money to buy his mother a house. Morales moved to Tijuana, Mexico in February of 2021 and started training out of Entrum Gym, which is home of former UFC champion Brandon Moreno. He would get in touch with Entrum Gym via a friend he went to school with and would make the leap to Mexico with two of his friends. "For me, leaving my country, it's something that's very tough, but I have to follow my dreams," said Morales. "Now that I have more support from the people of Ecuador, the support of my trainers, and more importantly, the support of my mother, it's something incredible." He moved to Mexico with the mentality of "let's see what happens," and things would become even better for him as his teachers there recognized his talent. But his climb would take a lot of dedication and commitment, not going out much as he would focus on training with his teammates. He learned a lot from his teacher Raul at the Mexican gym and other teammates like Moreno, gaining experience from these high-level fighters. However, following this, he signed a professional contract with the company Ultimate Warrior Challenge, the oldest MMA promotion in Mexico. During this time in UWC, Morales would fight Miguel Arizmendi, extending his MMA win streak to 11 wins and no losses, beating Arizmendi in such a dominant fashion that opportunities were inevitably going to come. Therefore, after only 7 months of being in Mexico, on September the 21st, 2021, Morales was given an opportunity to fight on Dana White's Contender Series, which would give him the contract he had been hunting for. When asked if he thought he was going to make it in the UFC at the pace he did, he said, "I've tried to take things at my own pace and adapt to the training sessions because I'm still practically new and I've only been here for a year, so I try to improve day by day as the teacher says. As this opportunity rolled around, Morales would be matched up against Nikolai Veredenikov for a contract with the UFC where he would beat Nikolai via decision, granting him a contract in the UFC. But from this point on, having made it in the UFC at just 22 years of age, Morales found himself taking advantage of every opportunity that was thrown his way, making his official UFC debut on the main card of UFC 270, winning his first fight against Trevin Giles in dominant fashion. I didn't even believe it when they called me to fight at UFC 270 to start the year and debut. This whole experience is incredible, and it's important for my country. This is big. I always said I never thought I would be debuting for the UFC at 22. I thought maybe 25, 26, and maybe even older, but things worked out this way, and I'm ready for war. However, Morales wouldn't just stop there. Following this, he would beat Adam Fugit via TKO in round 3 in his next fight. He would also go on to beat Max Griffin and Jake Matthews via split decision, extending his undefeated streak even further. Therefore, after 2 wins via unanimous decision, questions were being asked about Morales' ability to fight against higher level opponents. But with an opportunity to fight against the gatekeeper of the welterweight top 15, Neil Magny, Morales had his opportunity to shut down any criticism. Therefore, to make his statement, Michael would dominantly beat Magny via ground and pound in the first round.
I just think I have, a minimal damage that my guy hit, but very happy to come out with a win.
This victory over Magny left no questions unanswered. And after the fight, Morales would call out some of the toughest competitors in his division, such as Vicente Luque, Michael Chiesa, and even Ian Gary. When asked about his fight with Neil Magny, Morales exclaimed, "I wanted to finish him in the first round. It wasn't the strategy, but I wanted to do it obviously." This huge win would put Michael 12th in the welterweight division. However, Morales was not content with merely competing in the UFC, but he had his eyes set for a position in the top 10 of the welterweight division and a world title. Morales believes he will capture the welterweight title in the coming years, and with an upcoming fight against one of the most durable men in the division, Gilbert Burns, a win over Burns would undoubtedly create the statement he wants to make. "I've always said by 27 I want to be champion," Morales said. "You never know. Listen, at 25, here I am. I never thought I was going to come in the UFC that early, and here I was at 21. Maybe top 5, top 10 at the end of the year, and let's see what happens." Although he is very humble, stating that he only focuses on the present, not thinking about the future, there is one thing outside of competing to be the best that pushes Morales, and that is buying his mother a house. "I want to try to build my mother's house, help her as much as I can, and when I finish it, I want to build my own in Tijuana," as Morales wants to remodel the house that they grew up in because his mother wants to fix it. This may seem like something so small, but for Michael, it means everything. Fulfilling his personal dream to make his mother happy, who wasn't just his role model, but an inspiration for him in the world of martial arts. For me, she is everything. In her days as an athlete, she influenced me a lot, as his mother Cathy was a champion in judo 13 times and 8 times in wrestling. His inspiration, his first and last call before a fight, and the person he fights for is his mother, showing us that for even the toughest fighters who have forged their skill from a young age, they too can give everything back while having respect and admiration for the woman that raised him.